Welcome. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use a tool at code.org to decode a random substitution cipher. I typically start by looking at individual letters. So I notice there are a lot of R's that are by themselves. So that means that R would be a word. So it'd probably be A or I. I also notice the same thing appears with C's. Now, in this particular case, one thing is nice is that I notice the C's are lowercase, all the R's are uppercase. So I always needs to be in uppercase. So I am guessing that the letter R represents I. So I'm going to pull the blue I up to the R and notice they're filling that in. And then I think the C represents A. And you'll notice as I did that the bars match up with what I would expect. So how often an A occurs in my message is comparable with how often the letter A occurs in standard English. Looking at this, I'm also looking for the most common letters. So in my coded message, T appears a lot. Well, the most common letter to appear is E. So I'm guessing that T probably stands for E. And I'm going to put that in, and I'm just watching it to make sure that nothing real unusual is happening or things that might not be words. Another thing that I do is look for patterns of letters. I notice that here we have VZE. VZE also appears right there and there. I'm guessing that that's a very common word like the. Let's see if maybe V could stand for T. So again, T is a pretty common letter. Well, V is used often here. And then I think that Z might stand for H. Okay, and I'm looking and I'm again making sure there's nothing that's been appearing here in non-highlighted that isn't words. Now I'm going to look for things that have most of the letters filled in and see if I can figure out what a potential word is. So here I have a word that's H-A blank E. To me, that seems like it could be hat. So I'm guessing that S stands for V. Again, that matches up that neither one is a very common letter. And then I notice the second word, EVE blank. So a B occurs quite often, as does an N. So that would make a word of even. Looking again for other patterns down here, I have blank WITH, blank, and then it says blank the heat. I'm guessing that could be with the heat. So let's see if a U could represent a W. I'm going to put that in. So with the heat, that looks okay. So I notice I still have it assigned A, and A is a pretty common occurrence here. So let's see if I can find a spot where an A happens. A is in the beginning, FA, don't know what that means. But oh, here's another A. A or blank and E. That could maybe be 1, and that matches up that O is the most common letter I have it used. I'm looking at the letters I haven't used or assigned yet, and trying to figure out this first word, blank O. If I look at the choices, well, S is very common, and F has also been used fairly common. I'm wondering if that could say so. So I put that in there. Oh, and that seems to work because here it says it is. So I think the S is correct. So even blank. That sounds to me like it could be so even though. THUGH. I'm going to pull up those. Looking for short words is often easier. So here I have a short word, O blank. So I'm looking at my choices that are left of words I haven't assigned. I'm guessing that could be of. So I'm going to take the F and assign it to M. Okay, so that filled in some other things. So even though we F-A blank E, I think that could be face. So I'm going to take C and put it in for the P. So even though we face the blank, now here's where we can start to guess that what might make sense as far as the words. I'm going over actually to this A and blank. So I think that's going to be the word and. So L must represent D. Oh, I can see we face the difficulties. So I is L. Difficulties of today. So X would be Y. Today and tomorrow. So K would become an M. I have those two N's, so that would work for R. Now you could probably figure out what it says. I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. So now we can go through and figure out, we hold these truths to be self-evident. So B fits up there with O. I'm missing this word. All men are created equal. So J is Q. And now you should be able to fill in the other parts. And as I read through, I can tell I decoded this correctly, as all of these words make sense. And in this case, it was actually a famous quote by Martin Luther King Jr.